Okay, well, I think from an official standpoint, we are live on the air. And I apologize because my phone's been ringing like a madhouse all day long, nonstop, and it's real. Okay. Facebook's giving us some sort of an error. Encountered an error while loading the live data from the Facebook API. The operation could not be completed.
Well, you're live on your channel. It hasn't gone dead yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that error means. I think it has to do with like when people do like happy faces and all that. If we wanted to display it, I think that's what it was giving an error about, was that stuff. But it does seem like we are live, so we're going to go with it. We have had nothing but technical issues for weeks in a row now, where Facebook has booted us off in the middle of shows. The software that we use was locking up, and not sure why, thinking it was probably some sort of third-party software that I installed. And by the way, before we get started, if the creator of the Camo software is out there, he actually was listening to the episode where I mentioned that was a new software I had loaded on my computer right before all the trouble had. I have no idea if Camo was the problem, and I certainly didn't want to say that software was the problem, because it's actually a very good piece of software. My issue was that I was just trying to find what might be causing us to get booted off of Facebook all the time. And it happened after I had installed that Camo software, so I was just suggesting that I might remove that to see if that was the issue. But yeah, no idea if it was or not. So we may still get booted out of here. We may still have those same technical issues. We tried to have Owen on last week, and we got booted off the Facebook Live again. And hopefully we'll get through it this time, Steve. It's been a rough couple of weeks. It would be nice. It would be nice. And today we're going to talk about something nice and easy, nice and fun. We're going to talk about video graphics. So, yes. And some ways to get some graphics done. So, Steve, before Facebook and the software and the live stream systems and the gods of live streaming kick us out of here, let's get this show on the road.
That sounds good, Ray.
I think so, too. All right, here we go. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to talk all about graphics for your videos, where to get the graphics, how to make the graphics, and how to use the graphics for all of your video needs. And today's episode is made possible by our good friends at Movo, who have created the UM700, which is a desktop microphone for things like podcasting. And thought I had it right around me here somewhere. I was going to hold it up. I'm not sure where I put it. I put it away somewhere. But it is a very cool little desktop microphone that you put down there, and you can podcast with it, do your voiceovers, do your videos, and everything else. And there's the second phone call already of the time that we've been on the air. So it's going to be a fun episode, Steve. Everybody's calling. And the person who's calling right now, you're probably listening. You know who you are. You've called twice in the last 10 minutes. I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
All right, with that, let's forget about me getting them. If you want to be able to get good sounding audio, then get the UM700 from Movo. You can check it out right now by heading on over to raythevideoguy.com. Excuse me, let's change that. We're going to go to pocketvideopro.com/UM700. Check it out. It is a great microphone. In fact, I have a setup here with a microphone on an arm. It's a very expensive microphone, but I've got it attached to. This is kind of funny, Steve. I've got it attached to what's the thing called? What's the thing called you put your audio into? A mixer. And that mixer, every once in a while, it's very strange. It's a Yamaha mixer. Every once in a while, if it gets hot, if it's been on for a while, all of a sudden, all my audio gets messed up.
Really?
And so I'll do a recording. Like I was recording on my nice microphone here, and I'd play it back, and the audio would be literally half the length of the video, and when you played it back, the audio was like...
Cool.
And I couldn't figure out why, and then I remembered that this happened one time before, and I had to turn the mixer off, leave it off for a little while, and come back on. I mean, and I'm talking like you have to leave it on for like weeks and weeks and weeks at a time for this to happen. But it did it again the other day, and so what did I do? I switched to the UM700, because I can plug it in through USB, sits right in front of me. Not that I want to mix things up here, but it's very similar to the Yeti. Just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. Very, very similar. Looks like it. Works like it. Does the same types of things. A little bit cheaper, yes. A little bit less expensive. Not cheaper, less expensive.
It's $100 where the Yetis are, what, 130?
130, somewhere around there. Yeah, 129, I think. depending on what one you get. But yeah, this is a great microphone. I was able to use it to do the recordings that I was doing right then and there, and got me right through. So it was very nice. So that's the UM700 from Movo. You can pick it up now by heading on over to pocketvideopro.com/UM700. And before I mess this up any further, let's hear the theme song. Here we go.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray, the video guy, looking very pensive on the Facebook Live, or thoughtful.
Yes.
GoVMM is the landing page, and you can get social with us and find all the podcatchers and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Indeed. And before we get into today's topic, which of course is video graphics, as we've talked about, I want to go back and talk about something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. We tried to talk about last week, but it's an interesting topic. We talked about live video and the cameras that you could use and whatnot. And I talked about how for a long time I used the Logitech C920, which, by the way, that's what I'm using right now if you're watching live or watching the YouTube version of this podcast. I'm actually using that once again. I had switched to trying to use my Mevo camera, which was pretty good for doing this. Not bad. I used my DSLR. I used my iPhone. Now, the great thing, I got to admit, the C920, sorry, Logitech, I don't mean to say this, I've recommended this for many years, is the worst looking of all of them. It is an HD webcam, but it is the worst looking. And you can tell right now, if you're watching this, I've got a lot of orange colored lights going on in the background because it's video marketing madness and those are our colors. But that's really making me look very,
Orangey.
like everything on the screen looks like a pinky orange color. And the Logitech just doesn't seem to handle those changes very well. When I was using this same setup the other day with a lot of red and everything, and I was using the DSLR, it didn't have those issues. I looked normal, skin colored, and the rest of the thing looked red. The reason that I've switched back to the C920 for now, and there's a couple of reasons. The DSLR looked great, but there's a problem with Canon DSLRs as a webcam, and that is it's not a true 16:9 video image on that. And so what you end up having is black bars on the side, which means you have to zoom the picture in a little bit, and that made everything seem a little bit too close. And even when we had the lens pulled back, it still seemed too close because the camera still has to physically be right here so it can see through the two monitors that are on either side of it and whatnot. So it's not like I can move the camera back across the room and shoot through that hole. It would never work. You'd be seeing the back of my monitors. So that was kind of a pain in the neck, and it would shut off by itself sometimes, and then you'd have to reset it to get it back on. Quite honestly, I sorry, Canon, with your DSLRs, but the absolute best looking webcam that I had that made everything look the best was actually the iPhone. The problem with that is to use your smartphone as your webcam is kind of a pain in the neck because people try to call you on the phone, and it's just a kind of a pain in the butt when you're doing that sometimes. Plus, you can't just have it there ready to go. It's every time you want to shoot, you got to go. You got to set up your phone, put it into the silent mode, put it up there, set everything up, and kind of a pain in the neck to do that. The Mevo camera did pretty good too, but it likes to just shut off, and then you got to sit there and mess with it to get it to come back on. And yeah, that's funny, Steve. Steve's calling me on the phone now to exacerbate my phone call issues here. So I went back to the C920. Yeah, it's the worst looking, in my opinion, of the cameras. It's got the worst contrast ratios out of all of them. It's got the worst depth of all of them. You can see, if you're watching the video, you can see like right here, very white, bright spot, and down here it's very dark. When I used like the iPhone, everything was much more The darks were it was nice and even. You didn't see like hot spots and dark spots. It was much more in detail in those areas, and it just performed a lot better. But the reason I went back to the C920 was just for the convenience of having it there all the time. It's always there, and there's another phone call.
Not me.
I know, it's not you this time. It's always on, it's always there, it's always ready, so it just makes sense to do that. And the other reason for that is Movo is coming out with an awesome, or what seems to be an awesome new high-end 4K webcam with a built-in directional microphone and a ring light around it as well. And that won't be here till August. It's in Kickstarter mode right now, but I did support the Kickstarter. I did purchase mine. Hopefully, being as, I'm good friends with the Movo crew. If you're watching right now, guys, I'm talking about you right now, so remember this. Hopefully they'll get me one even sooner than everybody else. We'll see. But, obviously if you see my shelf in the back here, which, you can see all the Movo stuff is on my shelf. If you're watching on YouTube, I just kind of showed that there. We got all sorts of microphones and lights and things directly from Movo. So we will have this webcam, but it won't be here till probably August, sadly.
Oh, well.
So...
It'll be here before you know it.
So I may mess around with things. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, before the show, we were having some audio issues with Nemo, which is what Ray uses to stream. And so by the time we got all that fixed, Ray just said, hey, you know what? I'll be orange for this show.
That's right.
But, let's just get it
I don't
going.
think I could fix it even if I wanted to with this camera, to be honest with you. It just doesn't
really?
have
Okay. Then that was going to be my question. Could you adjust the lighting so you're not so
I mean,
orange?
I could. It would probably take forever just because it's a small room and everything. And I don't know why. I mean, quite honestly, the orange lights and everything are behind me. Like, literally, there's none that are in front of me shooting backwards. They're all back here. So why I'm looking orange, I think it's a camera issue. It's just kind of
it's not horrible, but you're looking orange.
Yeah. Looking at and very edgy too, like very harsh edges and things. But and in any case, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Yeah, my hair is very orangey looking, which if you know me, my hair is actually pretty dark.
Well, it's got an orange glow to it, which is kind of cool.
And it almost, and even just my hair in general kind of looks tan and light and orangey tinted. But what are you going to do? And of course, my big ring light right here, you would think that would be powerful enough to overcome that and give us some nice natural light. What I could do is I could mess with the color in the light and change that to make my skin tones change too. But then again, every time I change the lights in the back, we'd have to adjust it again. It's no fun.
No.
So just need to use a better camera. I need to go back to using, like I said, I really liked the camo software with the iPhone. And we were having issues where just these weird technical issues where we would go live on Facebook and all of a sudden everything would lock up and the Facebook stream would be gone and everything would lock up and I'd have to restart the computers. And it started after I started messing with the cameras, and I had wondered if the camo software might have been one of the issues behind it, and we're not sure if it is or not, but if I can figure that out, I'll probably go back to that because I do like using the iPhone the best as far as the look. The DSLR looked good, but had that issue.
iPhone looked great. It just we kept really popping off the air. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was. The thing is, I think it was popping off the air on us before I was doing that. So that's why I'm not sure if that's the issue or not. But
well, we're still on the air.
We're still on the air today, and that means we get to talk about something that I enjoy, and that is graphics. And that is creating graphics for videos. Now, for those of you who have ever done any kind of graphics, you know that it can be a pain in the neck and you need lots of different tools and you need all sorts of things. So I'm going to go through some of the tools that we use to make graphics because I think it'll make life a whole lot easier. Now, Steve, I'm going to spring something on you here. And unfortunately, for those of you that are just listening, you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. And notice what's behind me in that screen there, Steve.
Oh, a Video Marketing Madness logo.
It is. It's a new Video Marketing Madness logo that I created 5 minutes before we got on the air today.
Dang.
I literally put that together. So we're going to talk about, now, again, you can't see that if you're listening only, but
nice.
there's a
It's
nice
nice.
new little logo.
Yeah.
I probably should have run it by Steve before I created it, but I wanted to create it just to show how quickly we can create a logo. And I'm going to talk about how we're able to create that so quickly, because clearly I didn't hand draw that, and clearly I am not an art. Well, I don't know if it's clearly, but I'll tell you clearly, and from my point, I am not the type of person that can create that kind of artwork by myself from scratch. So we're going to talk about how we can do these types of things for video and for print and everything else without breaking the bank, without having to wait for an artist to create something for us for 2 years and everything else. And so I want to start off talking about the types of graphics that you may want to have for your videos. So when you're creating a video, there's a number of graphics that you may want to have inside that video. One would be some sort of title screen that's in there. So in other words, you might come on and you might say, hey, this is Ray, and today we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. And so we're going to do that right now. And then you might have a title screen that shows your logo and says, we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z, whatever it happens to be. And then it goes into your video. That's a title screen. Title screens, again, very easy to make. You can actually create them in a variety of different tools. Photoshop being one, of course, but you could use something like Canva to do this. And one surprising one that a lot of people use that people don't think about very often is using PowerPoint or Keynote to design your graphics for this. PowerPoint and Keynote, when you go in and you create a presentation, it's a 16 by 9 presentation or a 4:3, it's up to you, but usually it's a 16 by 9 presentation. So if you create a graphic inside of a PowerPoint or Keynote, you can create that, export it out, and then use it in your videos, and it should fit perfectly right inside that video. So a lot of people use these programs to create a background, put their logo on the background, and sometimes even to animate that logo. So you can animate the logo in and maybe animate your text and export a little movie out of that, or you can export a still image and put that into your videos. So that's a really nice way for you to be able to do that at a great cost, because most people have PowerPoint or Keynote on their computers already. And the same thing would go if you wanted to use the slides tool inside of Google Docs. You could do the same thing there and export it out. And that would allow you to create these screens very, very easily. And you could do this for a lot of the different graphics. Maybe you're going to have a video that's going to be broken up into different types of chapters, and you want to have a heading screen at the beginning of each chapter. You can do that in those programs. You can also do it in Photoshop or Canva, like we said. But that's one that anybody can create that kind of thing. If you've got a logo, take that logo, put it on a background, and boom, you're pretty much done. Now you can get fancier with this and have animated backgrounds and whatnot, but for a basic video, if you can just go into one of these programs, create a nice background. It could be just one solid color like we have in the screen behind us now, or it could be some sort of gradiated color, or maybe it's patterns, whatever it is. Put the logo on there, put your website, and you've got a nice graphic, very easy, simple, ready to go. Now another type of graphic that we're going to want to be able to create is lower third graphics. Those are where the little bar comes underneath a person and says their name and who they are. You see that in the news all the time. You can see that if you're watching the video right below Steve and me. We each have a lower, what's called a lower third on the screen, designating who we are. This is also something that can be created in a variety of different softwares. Most likely you're going to do this in something like Photoshop, but you could do it in Canva. If you've got a Photoshop alternative, you can do that. The big difference with these types of graphics is you need to create something that's not going to be full screen. So when we talked about PowerPoint and Keynote, the great thing about those make a nice full screen graphic for you. In this case, you need to make a little bar with a name on it that's not going to cover the entire screen. So you need to do one of two things with this. When you create these types of graphics, you need to either create a document that's the size of a video. So maybe you're doing in 1920 by 1080, which is high definition. If you're doing that, you might want to go into Photoshop, create 1920 by 1080, and then make your graphic in the bottom part of that, put the name and all that into there, and then save it out as a PNG. Instead of saving it as a JPEG, you save it as a PNG. And the reason for that is that's going to allow the entire thing to be transparent except for that lower third. Okay, so you'd go into Photoshop, open up a blank 1920 by 1080, put in that little graphic in there, save it out as a PNG, and then when you put it into your video, it's only going to show that lower third. The rest will be see-through so that you can see the person behind it. You could also create a graphic that is just a small, thin graphic itself, put that into your video editor and manipulate it around to wherever you want. that will work just as well. Again, you could create that in something like Photoshop. You could also create that in something like Canva. Be very easy to do that. Lower thirds, probably one of the more powerful tools that you can have when you're doing graphics. Now, another one that you always want to be able to create is your thumbnails. Thumbnails are what you use on places like YouTube, on your website, other video sites where it represents that video. Thumbnails, again, you probably want to build something. I usually go with the 1920 by 1080, so a nice high definition image. And what you want to do with this is you want to make sure that that thumbnail represents something in the video. So it could be a close-up of a person's face that's in the video. It could be a still shot from the video, whatever it is that's going to represent that video. And then you want to put nice bold text on there saying what the video is about so that it really stands out. The idea here is to represent the video and make it stand out when people are searching so that they want to watch your video and not somebody else's. Okay, make it provocative if you have to. You know, the title of the video, make something provocative on that thumbnail to get people to click. Faces work very, very well. If you've got a face in there, people are drawn to that. If you got something odd, if your video is about something kind of strange, if you show that strange thing in there instead of a person or with a person, then you're going to get even more attention to that particular thumbnail just because it's intriguing and people want to pay attention to it. Thumbnails, again, you could create this in PowerPoint very, very easily. You can create this in Photoshop, again, very easily. Canva, very easily. Or you could use a thumbnail creation tool like we use, which is a Thumbnail Blaster. And with Thumbnail Blaster, we are able to not only make our thumbnails, but we're able to make thumbnails for all of our videos all in one place. Click a button and it'll automatically post it to YouTube for you, so you don't even have to go into YouTube and upload it. It's got all sorts of really cool tools. I guess nowadays if they released it, they'd probably say it has artificial intelligence, which it kind of does. You know, it's just before that was the big buzzword. So you can actually, it can actually figure out what your video is about and help you to create that thumbnail if you want. But we go in there, we create a template inside of there, and then every time we have a new video, we just change the text, maybe change the images a little bit, and boom, 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 we make those thumbnails and get it out there. If anyone is interested in Thumbnail Blaster, probably most of this audience already has it because we sold a bazillion copies of it back when it was brand new. But you can check it out at raythevideoguy.com/thumbnailblaster, and there's some funny videos that we made of me in a superhero outfit and everything that you can check out while you're there. But Thumbnail Blaster, great tool for that, making sure that you've really got some really nice thumbnails. Put them onto all your videos. Get them out there so that every video has one of these so that you can really start to get attention. Steve, did you have something you wanted to say? It looked like you were hankering.
I was going to say, hey, Thumbnail Blaster, how about that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually looking it up. I've got it bookmarked in Chrome. So yeah.
It is. It's a great, great tool. And those guys, the Blaster guys, I mean, they've got some amazing software, Lingo Blaster and Blaster Suite and Thumbnail Blaster. I mean, just some awesome tools that those guys make. So definitely want to support them if you can. You're going to get a great program for creating thumbnails, but it's going to keep them making new software because they seem to make really good software and they support it very well. So very, very impressed with those guys. All right. So now you got your thumbnails. Well, now there's some other graphics you need to create for your videos, and these actually don't have anything to do with the video itself. We're talking about things like your YouTube backgrounds and your YouTube icons. Those are things that you want to be able to create because any video you make, you're going to want to be putting it onto your YouTube channel. So you want to make sure that you create a nice graphic for the YouTube channel with the what they call channel art. And what channel art is, when you go to a YouTube channel, you'll notice at the top of that channel with the videos, there's a fairly thin banner that has usually the logo and the person's picture or whatever in there, but it represents that page. Well, believe it or not, that's actually a very large image, and you're just seeing a sliver of that in your desktop. And the reason for that is people have TVs, people have 4K TVs, now they're even getting 8K TVs. So what they've done is they've decided that they're going to have this channel art, which they call what they have now the one channel. And what one channel means is that your one YouTube channel can be viewed on desktops, on televisions, on iPhones and Android phones and iPads and all of those different devices. And so they created the channel to detect what device you're using and to adjust what the channel looks like based on that device. And so technically, if you have a big screen TV, you should be able to have a full big screen TV sized graphic on that screen, and the information that you see in that little banner would be in the center of that screen. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have, again, it's going to be a 16:9 image, so you make sure that it's that size. You want to put all of your information in the very center of that image, and then that way, when it's on something like a smartphone, it's going to zoom in on just that center portion, so it's going to see everything that you have in that, that little centerpiece. If it's a tablet, it's going to still see that centerpiece, but it's going to see a little bit more. If it's a desktop, it's going to see even more. And then if it's a TV, it's going to fill that entire TV. So you want to make sure a big 16:9 image, put all of the information in the center, and that's going to help you to make sure that you get a nice image on any of those different types of devices. Okay. Now, some other things that you want to create when it comes to graphics, graphics don't always have to be images. These can also be animations, and we want to make sure that we create animations as well. And you can create animations in a variety of tools. You can do it in your video editor. So if you're using Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, if you're using Camtasia, if you're using ScreenFlow, all of these and many others have animation tools built into them so that you can actually create different types of animations. Now, what kind of animations do you want to create? Well, if you think about the lower thirds that we talked about, you can create animated lower thirds in a lot of these tools. In fact, your video editors probably have animated lower third templates already built in there, where all you have to do is choose the one you want, type in the person's name and whatever information you want, and boom, you got a nice animated lower third. You can also create the title screen we talked about can be animated. You can do animated logos, and that's where, kind of like at the beginning of a movie, the logo comes onto the screen and there's a big animation and music. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, you can create any of those types of things. You can also create animated end screens for your videos, especially if you're putting them on YouTube. And of course, you can create graphics in the middle that are animated. So you might have, for instance, an animated logo that spins in the corner of your video, or every once in a while, a screen that has text on it. All of these things can be created in a variety of different softwares from, again, your video editors, something like After Effects or Apple Motion, just a variety of different tools that will allow you to do this. Again, you could do some of this in PowerPoint or Keynote. Go in there, make a little animation, export it out, and bring it into your video, and now you've got something really cool. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about the different types of animations and where you want them and how you can kind of put them together, well, what about the art style? I mean, I'm not an artist, Steve. I don't know if you know that or not. Yet, I put together the logo that we're seeing in the screen over here in about 5 minutes. And the reason that we can put something like that together, even when somebody like me who doesn't have a lot of artistic experience, there's a lot of really cool templates out there. And templates will allow you to do things very quickly and very easily. And the one tool that I use, or the one location that I use to get a lot of my templates, in fact, pretty much all of my templates, and all of my audio, and all of my sound effects, and all of my graphics, and all of my stock video, is Elements by Envato. Now, you may have heard of Envato before, or one of their subsites like Video Hive or Audio Jungle. They've got a variety of different websites that they run where you can pick up all the graphics, graphic templates, video clips, video templates, sound, music, and a whole bunch of other things in one place at a great price. But what I use is what they call Elements. Now, Elements is a kind of like it's kind of like the Apple Music, or where you're basically paying a subscription to be able to have access to anything anytime you want. And the great thing about this particular program with Elements is that you pay once a year, and it's $200, which sounds like a lot of money, but I'll explain to you why it's not a lot of money at all in just a minute. And you get access to all of those graphics, graphic templates, videos, video templates, sound effects, illustrations, animations, Photoshop plugins. They've got code. If you create software, they've got pre-made code that you can use. They've got website templates. Everything with regards to graphics and design and everything is in this one program. There's phone call number 5, I think, or 6 while we've been doing this. they have all of this in there with elements that you can download as much of as you want. And I download a lot. In fact, today alone, I've downloaded 4 different things at 4 different times while we're working it, including the logo that you see back here was a template that I pulled from Elements, went into Photoshop, and basically changed the text. So it took me about 30 seconds to change the text, and I saved it out. Oh, and I made a couple other changes. So the background, there's a microphone in the center, and there's like a yellow and orange stripy thing in the back of that. I changed it to the Ray the Video Guy colors of the yellows and oranges. So I changed that around a little bit, changed the text, and had a logo within just a couple of moments. So it was very, very cool, very easy to do. Now, as I said, this is $200 a year. Why do I think that's very cheap? Well, I'll tell you why I think that's cheap. Because in years past, and I know this from when we do taxes, because we have to put all of our expenses in, I spent on average each year probably about $10,000 to $15,000 on the Envato marketplace, buying animated logos, buying graphics, buying music. Every year, $10,000 to $15,000. I now pay $200 a year instead. Okay. Now, the great thing about Elements is you get as much as you want in there. You can download as many things as you want. The one downside, and it's not really a downside because it's never really affected me, is not everything that's in Video Hive or Audio Jungle or what have you is in Elements. It doesn't have everything, but it has way more than you could ever use. And I have yet to not find what I needed in Elements, even though I know there's more in Video Hive, there's more in Audio Jungle, there's more in all those different sites that they normally host, but vast majority seems to be in Elements, and you get all the downloads you want. I can download 100 songs a day for 100 projects if I want. It doesn't cost me a single penny more. I can download graphics all day long. I spent one day where they've got lots of plugins for like Final Cut Pro. I spent an entire day just downloading hundreds of plugins and adding them to Final Cut Pro so that I've got all sorts of really cool transitions and little built-in templates for graphics and things like that. So it's got a lot of stuff in there. Very, very good program. And again, the music, same thing. Obviously, we're here to talk about graphics, but it's got the music in there. It's got your still graphics. It's got your animated video graphics. Everything all in one place. And templates. So if you were doing, for instance, Steve and I are working on a project that's medical related. Well, I was able to go in there and find a template that I liked for medical related stuff, download that, add their logo and put a little bit of work into it in After Effects, and boom, we've got a little video done. So it's very cool as far as getting all of that stuff done very inexpensively. And, again, you'll find almost everything you want. If you're working on web graphics, you'll find all of that stuff in there. WordPress plugins, WordPress templates, all inside there, and everything else in between. So very, very cool stuff. Again, it's Envato Elements. You can check that out at raythevideoguy.com/elements. And that's going to give you access to all that. So if you're making a lower third, by the way, tons of lower thirds in there. End screens, YouTube related stuff, YouTube related animations, animated buttons. So if you want to have a button on your video that says, subscribe, you can find that in there. There's going to be a ton of those in there. Different times a year. So imagine, Christmas time, you need graphics specific for that. You now have the ability to grab all the Christmas graphics that you want for your videos to make updates or for your website or what have you. So a lot of great stuff in there. And there's a lot of different places where you can get things besides that. And, if you do, you're able to put all these things together, take your videos to an entirely new level without having to spend a fortune, without having to hire somebody usually to do any of the work for you. And, you can just really make your videos shine. And, that's all I got to say about that, Steve. What do you got to say about all that?
I think this is fantastic, especially when you have those kind of design templates,
Yeah, the templates are fantastic. Here at the Escape Room, I've made animated logos I've made logos and then animated those logos for all the different rooms, for the rooms in California, for the rooms here. We've created logos for them We've created one of the things that we do is we do a ton of video here. Like when you come into our office here or into the escape room in the lobby, we've got a big screen TV with animations going, telling you about the rooms and everything. And all of that stuff is done with templates that we pulled from Envato, templates that we used for creating these, different videos, and a lot of the stuff just in Final Cut Pro, adding graphics, doing graphics. I made logos for each of the rooms. Made logos for the rooms out in California, and then put them all together into these nice videos. And, I think it looks pretty darn good. It's pretty cool. And we make a ton of animated logos as well. So when you come into the lobby and you're watching that, you might see information about one of the rooms, and then in between we'll have an animated logo, and each time it'll be a different one. So I've made just a whole bunch of them. At Halloween, I made a whole bunch of Halloween-related ones. Christmas time, a whole bunch of Christmas-related ones, so that when you came in, all of the animated logos were Christmas-related. And now they're just more generally related, and we put them out there, and it looks really great and does a good job for us. But it's all done by making sure, that you use video, graphics, and animation together, and it's just going to enhance your videos.
Absolutely.
And so, Steve,
I can't say enough about thumbnails as well.
Absolutely.
That's a big determining factor in getting recommended by YouTube.
Absolutely. Now, before we get out of here today, Steve, I do want to talk about something very quickly here. I was joking about all the phone calls, and I think the final count now is 8 phone calls during this show, and a whole bunch of text messages. And the reason is, I put an ad on Craigslist for a property that we bought. But the reason I bring that up, obviously properties have nothing to do with this show, but if anybody tells you that Craigslist does not work anymore, which you see all the time, you can go and kick them, because it's not true. I put up a house that we just renovated that we're going to be renting out, and I've had like 20 phone calls today already, and I only put it on a couple hours ago, of people that are ready to rent this property. In fact, I've got another property that I didn't put on Craigslist yet, and I've got multiple people that want both of those because they've called and it made sense. So if you're ever looking for anything, I guess Craigslist is still the place to go, man, because getting a lot of action from that. So
crazy.
And that's why we keep getting phone calls.
Yeah, good.
All right. Well, that's our little story on graphics. Again, and by the way, if you're doing live videos, you can still do graphics. We're doing live videos, and you can see we've got lower thirds, and we've got logos in the corners and all that kind of stuff. So very effective to have graphics on your live videos as well. So anywhere you do video, live, recorded, whatever it happens to be, getting nice graphics into those videos is only going to enhance it and make it even better. So get out there and do it. And again, check out Elements. I think you're going to love it. I save so much time and money by using Elements for everything that I do that it's not even funny. You can, by the way, you can go there. Let's say you want to do one of those big, long explainer videos that are like 2 minutes long. You'll probably find a template on there that has the explainer video already completely made, and all you have to do is go in and change a couple of graphics, change the text, and now it's your explainer video. So be sure to check it out. Again, raythevideoguy.com/elements. You will not, if you use 1 or 2 items the entire year, it's worth the $200. But I mean, just amazing the amount of stuff that they have in there that you can create with. So
fantastic.
Indeed. All right, Steve. So we finally made it through without Facebook kicking us off and without the software going haywire and everything else, and which is exciting.
It is.
Still not sure why it was doing that and why we kept having issues. And what's funny is we missed, people might be saying, oh, geez, these guys haven't had a podcast in a couple of weeks. Well, we've tried. It seems like every time we've tried it went down. And the funny thing is during the week, all week long, I would do live video tests and everything would work fine. And then we'd get on the call, we'd get everything set up, we'd start doing the show, and it would shut down on us. Yeah, so it was very strange. When we thought everything was working fine, it would suddenly just go down. But we made it through today, which is very exciting. We're 40 minutes in without any issues, so that's pretty good.
All right.
So with that, Steve, are we ready to get out of here?
I think
before
so.
It does
now,
shut down for us.
Who made the show possible today?
Well, today's show is made possible by people that we talked about a few times today, and that is our good friends over at Movo, who have a great podcasting microphone called the UM700. It's a desktop USB microphone that allows you to adjust everything from the pickup patterns on the microphone to the volume of the headphones to the gain on the microphone, and it's all in one nice little unit that sits right on your desk and sounds great. And if you want to check it out, you can check it out right now by heading over to pocketvideopro.com/UM700, and you can pick one up today and start podcasting or doing voiceovers or doing, whatever it is you need to do with sound. Maybe you're doing a live video. You can use it with your live videos. All available at pocketvideopro.com/UM700. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great one, Steve. We'll talk to you soon
too,
as
Ray.
well.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
All right, we did it.